Hello, everybody. CR Wrestling Commentary. Thoughts on Keith Lee's return on AEW Rampage. Okay, so last we ever saw of Keith Lee, he was going on a downward spiral with Swerve.
All right, he got beat up right by Swerve and his tattoo goons.
Yep.
Okay.
But remember before that, it was the whole we gotta talk, and then he hadn't heard anything. And then he comes back, he gets attacked, as you said. The double stomp onto the, obviously, very fake cinder block. Sad to say.
I forgot that happened to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now things are coming together.
So then you didn't hear about him. Okay. Now, since then, it's just been one bad attempted promo and gimmick after another, despite Swerve Strickland being able to do good to great promos and his personality booming. It's just, the whole mogul affiliates origin and all that. Rick Ross was just meaningless. It was unnecessary. But he comes back. The best way to get over is to work with somebody that can help you get over. AEW doesn't have
very many of those.
Yeah, they don't have many babyface people that can get a heel over and whatnot. And there ain't too many heels that can get a babyface over. So it's a struggle. So Swerve finds his whole thing working with Dustin Runnels or Dustin Rhodes. So that's a good thing, because I'm be honest with you, I ain't gonna lie, I bought into that. When I was seeing it, I was like, oh my goodness. And Dustin has a trait that people don't use too much in wrestling. And that's honesty. There are things that you don't talk about, things you don't go to. So when Swerve went to, now he didn't talk about his mom, because that's recent. He talked about his brother, talked about him. He was like, let me get started on your dad. And he was like, hey. So while the wounds are predominantly healed from the passing of Dusty, there are areas you don't go to, and he didn't. And anyone watching, if you're wondering why, because Dustin losing his mom is recent. It's still recent. It's going to be recent for another maybe 2 or 3 years. So you can't talk about that. He could have said something like his mama didn't raise him right or something. Something. You're a blight on your mom's, heritage and whatnot. He could talk something like that. But after that, it's all made up.
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah.
So when one of the girls was interviewing Dustin, and he was giving everyone, telling everyone thank you for sending all the love and in regards to the passing of his mother. And then Swerve walks up and starts talking trash. It did nothing for me. I was like, all this shit is cliche. If you're gonna talk to Dustin, you can't come at Dustin about Dustin. You always gotta talk about his dad. Or you're gonna talk about his brother. You can't just
have some other backstage gripe.
Yeah, you can't just use him.
He did mention that Dustin, like, you think you can do whatever you want, and you think you got, you can run roughshod here. And he was talking about that, like, you overlooking me, but y'all are paying attention to him. Like, he's royalty, yada yada, and all that. Swerve did go with that.
He did go with that. Okay, but you see Dustin like once every 6 weeks. So for someone to run roughshod and do whatever they want to do, you need to see him at least once a show.
Exactly. I agree with that.
That would fit Jericho. That would fit the Elite. It just, I understand what he was
They're
going
all
for.
heels.
Yeah, I understand what he was going for, but it fell really flat. And on top of that, he does not convince me.
Swerve doesn't convince you?
Nope.
I think you wait a minute. You mentioned how Swerve was very convincing as a heel to you many times.
Yeah, but that one here lately, since he's got the burly white dudes backing him up, he needs to work on it. I'm not convinced. When he was rolling by himself and he was talking his trash and then going in there and backing it up and not having, no time for the babyface shit. Okay, yeah, but now there's a faction, mogul affiliates, big tattoo dudes backing me up. I got a cane. It's played out. It don't do nothing for me, and it ain't gonna get him nowhere.
The doom and gloom is, where is it supposed to get you? Fame, notoriety, popular, everyone wanting to see you, which makes you a commodity, which makes other promotions want to bid for you. That's a wrestler's goal, to be that. That is when you're the man. Not just you have a belt, but when other promotions want you. You're valuable,
And think about it this way. Let's use MJF for an example. He is so valuable. He's got the same fans cheering him and booing him in the same breath.
Yes.
In the same breath. Whereas Swerve come out there, swerve when I drive, and I swerve when I drive, and everybody bob their head to the music, and then after that, it's over. They're waiting for the next person to come out. It's like they're waiting for Keith Lee to come out. The whole thing they were doing with Dustin, did the crowd really seem like they were up in arms?
You mean what was on Rampage?
Yeah, I went too fast. It's just I just don't.
Yeah, they had a match. It was a good match. JR, he is like, look, you kick out of a pile driver, because that's modern wrestling, to kick out of devastating moves like that. And you can hear Jim Ross very annoyed, if not ticked off by it. And everyone else, the commentary team, slightly shut up, and then they had to jump in and say something, because you can hear JR was frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going on this match, yeah, it was a build-up. It took a week, but yeah, it got there. They wrestled. Dustin comes out in the red instead of the blue. Dustin gets, he gets some juice, and Swerve is attacking him, and then right when Dustin hits the crossroads, like a high angle one, it looked like Swerve should have broke his neck, honestly. So it looked dangerous to me. And that's exactly how wrestling should be. Completely safe, but to the watcher, it should look dangerous. And then I can't remember what the dude is. His assistant, Swerve's assistant.
One of his two henchmen.
Yeah, the one that was there. He drags Dustin out the ring. He beats on him. It's a disqualification. Jericho's so brilliant, are you? To point out, it's DQs are rare on AEW. It's like, yeah, okay. So what you're saying is, you're telling the fans blatantly that they're so rare that you need to be like stunned and shocked that you see one, and you should have an emotional reaction because one has happened. But see, that's the thing. You don't say that. You don't say that. You let the fans feel that organically.
And
so
it had been okay, and so they get
they beat on Dustin. They get him in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Parker Boudreaux, that's his name.
Okay.
He gets the cinder block.
Cedric, it's been so long since they did the cinder block bit with Keith Lee. I didn't remember to just us starting to talk about this. I was like, oh, he's got the cinder block, because they got the commentators got to scream at you, and I'm like, okay,
the pile driver.
They got the cinder block. He's not gonna smash his head on the rock. So, what the hell?
He's gonna jump off the top rope with his double foot stomp onto his head onto the cinder block.
And the commentary team, they try to make you seem like it's utter peril, but I didn't feel it, and to me, I didn't get it from the crowd.
The crowd was dead. They were cheering as a crowd should, but if they're taping Rampage right after Dynamite and after Dark, then the crowd is exhausted.
The crowd is
if they're still doing it that way.
If they're still doing it that way, but even if they are, someone who is effective can get that dead crowd up on their feet and mad as hell. Case in point, MJF.
When he was like, we had break.
he can get the crowd riled in no time flat. Case in point number 2, Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Master at it.
All they got to do is hit his music and they're booing. Then he comes out there jaw jacking and pointing people's faces and they're ready to come over the barricade. Yep. None of these heels, all of them are sniveling little, skinny, fly through the air sacks of crap. What's menacing? Nothing. For Swerve really and went and got these 2 big white boys, and he still don't look menacing.
Swerve don't look menacing, but he looks like I'll be honest with you, like he's full of rage. Parker Boudreaux, as I said when we was watching, and see, I watched him on Dark some months ago, and I was liking what I was seeing. I thought he was extremely rough around the edges. He needed a lot of training, but I was liking what I was seeing. When Parker, because of what he's wearing and the look on his face, he looks like a big high school jock that wants to bully the nerds. He doesn't look like somebody you should fear. He doesn't look like someone when he comes out, you know that opponent is going to lose or get messed up. When Swerve comes out, he don't look like he could do damage to anybody, but he looks like he's the type of person to stab somebody in the spleen, walk off, and then blame the person that was across the street. He looks like that type of person. So at least he got that going on. But going on, comparative sizes, Swerve is the guy that should be the mastermind that'll shoot you from a distance. But Powerhouse Hobbs look like the guy that you wish you could run from if your legs weren't shaking so much. And that's the difference. But some people you can't help how small or how robust or whatnot you are. So you work with what you got. Swerve's worked with what he's got. And I appreciate that. I think he's very passable as a heel. But then the cinder block. And suddenly, and I was thinking, remember what I spoke of earlier? It was Friday. I think Rampage was, 13 minutes in, if it came on at 8 o'clock. It was I can remember this because it's so recent. 8:13 p.m. Okay, East Coast time. I said, you ever notice that nobody's clamoring to see Keith Lee?
And I said, yeah.
I said, where is he? I was like, maybe he's out, maybe trying to lose weight or something, or get his body in better condition so he could do the things that he wants to do, because he was getting round,
Mm-hmm.
And then when I watched Rampage, I think it was 12, just a little bit after 12 a.m. And when I see this, and suddenly with the cinder block, Keith Lee comes out, his music plays, and I'm like, well, speak of it, huh? And it's playing. I said, okay, he ain't there. And then, just as they did before, because they're gonna do this with Keith Lee when he goes away and come back every single time. They make the camera angle just right so he rises like some deadly behemoth behind his opponent. You're like, that's a mountain that just came out the ring.
Yeah.
And I thought he was bald at first. I thought I was like, whoa, he shaved his hair off. Yeah. And he went to fighting and fighting both of Boudreaux and Strickland. And he tried to put on this combo, punch, spinning back fist, but the back fist missed. And he just punched him and then headbutted him in the corner. Okay. It was brutal. He's trying. Boudreaux was backing up too far and it was just throwing things off. Swerve tried to do something off the top rope, which looked like nothing because he just jumped flat like a toothpick just hovering in the air. And Keith Lee caught him. Swerve was so messed up and so scared, he brushed his hair back. And then, he got thrown. And I realized, Keith didn't dye his hair.
No, he didn't.
He must have washed it out and said, I'm just going to be me. And I'm looking at Keith Lee. Now it comes down to the critiquing. I was hoping that he was going to lose weight, tone up, come back looking, better than ever. But it seems like he's been working out. He's been, hitting the gym, lifting weights, getting the power, But he's bigger. And it's because he got more muscle mass, but he has no tone. So I could bring up certain other things of why things are not happening. Well, why Keith Lee might look the way he looked. But I think that's a little bit too home and too personal. And there's nothing that I could say that would be accurate because I don't know. I don't stalk wrestlers. But if he's not happy, this could be a sign of it. So he's at work now. He's doing what he's got to do. And I just think he came back. He should have lost some of the weight. I mean, if I was a performing athlete and there's nothing to inhibit me, I'm gonna do high intensity training. I'm gonna, eat better foods, especially if I'm making that level of money. I'm gonna lose the weight. I'm gonna tone up. You're gonna see. I'm gonna Michael Elgin my body. That's what I'm gonna do. You're gonna see what that power really looks like. That's what I'm gonna try to do. But I'm glad that he's all right. I'm glad that he's healthy. And it's good to see him back. I just hope that he doesn't try to do the style that he was and wrestles a little differently. That's what I'm hoping. I think this was a very poor comeback because now he's got the beef with Swerve Strickland.
Again.
And there's nothing truly wrong with it. But here's the thing. And anyone out there listening, I want you to think about this. When they're done beefing in a month or month and a half, or it just ends flat at the upcoming pay-per-view, because they're going to make that match. On Dynamite, it's going to be made. It's going to be made. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be some kind of weird match thing. It's going to be him and Dustin Rhodes versus Swerve and Parker Boudreaux. It's going to be either on Dynamite or at the pay-per-view. And I think they're going to save it for a Dynamite. I think that's what they're going to do. And try to make a singles match for the pay-per-view. But after that's done, who's next? Who can Keith Lee beef with next that is of stature, that will give a good promo and or good match to cater to Keith Lee's strengths, not weaknesses, exploit certain weaknesses to get an advantage in the match? Because Keith Lee, the things that he can't do well is something that is best used to say turn the tide of the match. That would be good. Mm-hmm. That's what some of the greats did. If you're not that flexible and you can't do too much, then they do something to exploit that you're not that flexible and then turn the match around like that.
Yeah, you capitalize on it, yeah.
Who can Keith Lee work with that has that ability? Who? You know?
Mm-hmm.
He can't work with MJF. MJF will certainly see him as not on his level. And with Keith Lee's conditioning, he's not. Especially when MJF is about to go through an Iron Man match and wrestle 1 hour. Wait, I didn't say it right. Iron Man match. There we go. Say it better.
Mm-hmm.
He's about to prove that he's got the endurance. Keith Lee ain't going to have that level of endurance, so he can't work with it. So let me know in the comment sections. This is here on YouTube. I'm not putting this, on Spreaker. But who can Keith Lee work with that is of good caliber, that's going to be a heel and is not in a faction and can put on a great match of psychology to get either one of them over? I'm curious if any of you can think of one, because I can't. But that's all I've got to say.
I can't think of anything either, because he's a face and there's so many heels, but he should just decimate him. I don't know who could be a suitable opponent that could cut promos with him back and forth that you want to see. I have no idea.
So with that, we're going to leave it up to you all, okay? Then see our wrestling commentary. See you next time.